In this video, we will be looking at the double entry system. Now, the double entry system is the core of accounting. It is utmost important that you master the double entry system, or else you will not be able to thrive in accounting. Okay, accounting is going to be a difficult subject for you if you do not master this. Now, when you have your textbooks or in your computer, you have your folders. Now, what you do is you create those folders and you organize your things. Okay, like for an example, you put your class notes into one folder, the class videos into one folder, your movies into one folder, right? So whenever you require it, you can easily find it. The same thing we do with accounting. Okay, now in accounting, we create folders to put similar transactions. Okay, and these folders is what we call as an account. Like here, you put your cash transactions into one folder. You put your motor vehicles into one folder. Okay, and this folder, you call it an account. The format of an account is as such. It looks like a huge capital T, right? We also call these accounts the ledger accounts, the T accounts as well. Now on your left hand side, you have the debit side of your account. And on the credit hand side, when you're on your right hand side, you have the credit side of your account. Okay, right. Now, do you know who is this person? Yes, this is Isaac Newton. When you remember about Isaac Newton, what comes into your mind? Yes, the apple, and then the third law of Newton, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Okay. Now let's look at how does this law apply in accounting. We have an effect of a transaction which we call as the duality of a transaction. Now on screen you have two transactions. Okay. So take your writing pad and write down the impact of these two transactions in the basic accounting equation. Now, when the owner introduced $10,000 into the business's bank account, the bank in the business will increase by 10,000. And on the other hand, the capital of the business will also increase by 10,000. On the second transaction, the business purchased a motor vehicle for $3,000 in cash. So when the business purchases a motor vehicle, you get a new asset, which is the motor vehicle. So motor vehicles will increase by 3,000 and your cash will decrease by 3,000 because you are paying from cash. Now, when you look at both of these transactions, you see that even though there was just one transaction, there are two effects. This is what you call as the dual impact of a transaction or the duality of a transaction. Okay, clear? So every action has a equal and opposite reaction, right? Okay. Now based on this duality of the transaction, the double entry system was created and the double entry rules were given to you. Now the beginning of this double entry rules is that if an asset increases, you need to debit it, and if an asset decreases, you have to credit it. Okay, right. Now the double entry system is actually developed based on two main principles. Okay, the first principle is that every debit entry should have a corresponding credit entry. Every action has a opposite reaction. Okay, and the total that is debited should always equal to the credits. Again, equal reaction, equal and opposite reaction, Newton's law, right? Okay, now let's look at this in a transaction. Let's say the business is obtaining a bank loan. So when the business obtains a bank loan, the bank account will increase by 6,000 by the bank loan, and you will create a new liability, which is the bank loan. So your liability account will get credited by 6,000. Why? Now your bank account, we learned that if it is an asset, you need to debit. So according to double entry principles, if you debit one account, the other account has to get credited. So the bank loan account will get credited. So it will also be credited by 6,000. Now suppose that you are paying this bank loan. So when you pay, your bank account or your cash asset will decrease. So then on what side should you record it? Should record it on the credit side. So the bank account will get credited by 3,000, and the bank loan account, because opposite reaction, so it has to get debited by 3,000. Okay. So bank loan being a liability, when the liability increased, you record it on the credit side, and when the liability decreased, you recorded it on the debit side. Okay. So guys, these are the rules that is given to you. Okay. These rules are going to be universal anywhere in the world. Okay. It is utmost important that you master these rules and remember them. Okay. This should be your wallpaper for the next week. This should be seen everywhere you look at. It's that very important. Okay. Right. So when the liabilities increase, you need to credit it. When the liabilities decrease, you need to debit it. With capital, if the capital increases, you need to credit it. If the capital decreases, you need to debit it. If the income increase, you need to credit it. If the income decrease, you need to debit it. If the expense increase, you need to debit it. If the expense decrease, you need to credit it. Now one easy way for you to remember this is a memory called debt click. Okay, you need to debit your expenses, assets and drawings. Now drawings is when your owner withdraw money, which means a capital decrease. So when the capital decreases, what did you do? You debited it. Okay, clear? And then you have click where you need to credit liabilities, income and capital when they increased. Okay, right. Another way that you can remember this is through the accounting equation. The extended accounting equation is given to you on screen. So assets plus expenses plus drawings. Now guys, if any of these are increasing, if your assets are increasing, if your expenses are increasing, if your drawings are increasing, they need to be debited. Okay, if they are decreasing, you need to credit it. On the other side of the equation, you have your opening capital, additional capital, income and liabilities, right? If any of these elements are increasing, you should record it on the credit side of your account. If any of these elements are decreasing, you need to record it on the debit side of your account. Okay, so these are the basic double entry principles.